Hello and welcome to Finn's Auburn Breakdown. I think we're on episode 8 now. Maybe episode... Yeah, I think episode 8. Today we're going to be doing a mock, pretty much Auburn side of the bracket from ESPN, maybe CBS. But starting off from ESPN side of the bracket, Joe Lunardi. Auburn is still top overall seed.
Yep.
And we're lined up against Southern, 116 matchup. I think we all know where that one's going to go.
I think Auburn takes the cake on that one. That's an easy W. Southern, it's I don't know. I mean, miracles happen, but I don't think that miracle will happen.
Last time was 16 beat a 1 FDU over Purdue.
Yeah, I think so. I believe that was 2022.
Yeah, 2022. And then it was it UMBC in Virginia?
I think it was.
Well, then Kansas is coming as an 8 seed against New Mexico, who's a 9. And New Mexico is getting top 25 ranks for about votes for at least past 4 weeks, I'd say. The fact that they're still in a 9 seed, I feel like is kind of absurd.
I think it's disrespectful to New Mexico. I mean, Kansas is not a good basketball program. They've fallen off the face of the planet.
Definitely.
From being ranked 12th to being unranked.
Lost to BYU by 40.
They were also ranked number 1 at the beginning of the season, and now they're not even ranked at all. So, I mean, it's going to be easy for New Mexico to take this one, I think. I think Kansas will put up a little bit of a matchup, but, you know, Hunter Dickinson hasn't been playing good. And neither has the whole team. So, just New Mexico over Kansas.
I think New Mexico pulled out. Then Oregon makes it in as a 5 seed against either Boise State or Xavier. I've watched Xavier play. They've had a close game against Marquette. I think they beat Boise in that first 4 matchup. Though they could take on Oregon. Though Oregon has proved strong. Their quad 1 record's pretty good. They're second to Auburn in quad 1 wins. I do think that Oregon could take this one out here.
Depending on how Xavier does in the conference tournament, it all depends on getting hot. You know, the 2019 Auburn team, I believe they were a 5 or 6 seed in the tournament, and they won the whole thing, and they made it to the Final Four. So depending on how Xavier plays, they could pull an upset here, but I just don't see that happening right now.
Yeah, I see Oregon in that 5-12 matchup. Next, it's Arizona making it as a 4 seed against Lipscomb. Arizona has been kind of on and off.
Very inconsistent.
At the beginning of the season, they started out ranked pretty well.
Yeah.
Fell off. Had a win against Iowa State. That was pretty big.
That was a big win.
They're coming back up again. Somehow making it as a 4 seed. I personally think they should be lower.
Yeah, probably a 5 or 6.
I don't think Lipscomb has the manpower to take that one down.
No, Caleb Love is just, I mean, he's the best player on that Arizona team. So Arizona's going to probably go by with ease.
And now Louisville against SDSU or Indiana. I don't think it matters. I feel like Louisville is highly underranked. I think they should switch with Arizona.
Yeah, absolutely.
Louisville has been playing incredibly. They've been playing out of their minds. They took down Gonzaga earlier in the season. Louisville should be higher, and I think they'd easily take that 6-11 matchup.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Louisville is a game behind Duke in the ACC, tied with Clemson for second place. I mean, Louisville should be ranked right now, and I don't know why they're not, but, yeah, Louisville all day long.
Then St. John's versus Towson. St. John's, I feel like, could be a legitimate 2 seed at this point.
Oh, yeah.
They're not. I don't think they're in the running for the 1 seed. There's a 1 in a million shot if Florida somehow loses out.
Yeah.
Tennessee loses out. Alabama loses out. They're in. But I do think that they're a 2 seed, not a 3 seed. They've already clinched the Big East title.
Yeah.
And I think St. John's will take that one all day.
Yeah, give me Rick Pitino and the Red Storm. I mean, they've been playing excellent basketball.
Now, Georgia has made it in, a previous bubble team. They're getting in as a 10 seed versus 7 seed Memphis. Memphis nearly cracking the top 10 a couple games into the season. Also, again, have kind of fallen off. I'm assuming they won the American Athletic Conference.
I believe so.
But I don't know how this one will go. I feel like that's a good coin flip there. Georgia's been playing really well with a win against Florida, too.
Yeah. Depending on how Asa Newell plays, Georgia has a chance, but I honestly think Memphis, with their team of veterans obviously being one of the oldest teams in college basketball, I think Memphis could handle business with a very inexperienced Georgia team. Georgia hasn't been very great in past years. They haven't had a winning record in a while, but they also just haven't made the tournament in a long time. So I think Memphis wins here.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to rely on Danger. I think that's his name.
Yeah,
he's gotta be. I think he's a beast down low. And next, Michigan State gets in as a 2 seed versus Robert Morris. Michigan State, I've just kind of had a prejudice against them since the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Coming in with them unranked in the Maui Invitational, I always never thought that they were that good, but now they've gone past top 10 for a couple weeks now. They're definitely a good team now, but I think they'll take the 15-2 matchup. I'm just not sure how far that'll get them.
Yeah.
Because if it was my rankings, just personally, I would have put them at like a 4.
Yeah.
But
Michigan State's really flipped the switch. I mean, they've had some very impressive wins. Obviously beating Michigan with Trey Donaldson and all those guys on there.
Former Auburn guy, yeah.
But yeah, I think Michigan State is highly. I mean, even though they're a 2 seed, I think they're a little bit overrated in some aspects, but in some other aspects they're really underrated. So I think they can. I think they have a real shot to make a run here and be one of those teams from the Big Ten that make it a little bit farther than the others.
Yep. Now Auburn and New Mexico, nearly a 2019 rematch against New Mexico State that we had, but New Mexico coming as the 9th seed against Auburn. Not sure how this one will roll out. New Mexico, like you said, obviously a pretty good team, borderline top 25.
Yeah.
The Auburn's just been dominant with teams like that. When we're just finding ways to get it done.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Especially since this game's going to be on a neutral court. New Mexico is a very, very good team, but I think Auburn can take care of business unless Janai Broome gets started slow, and that's where we found most of our problems, is getting our big man going, whether that be Dylan Cardwell or Janai Broome. If they cannot get going, then this game is going to be a whole different story. But I think the way we relied on Miles Kelly and Todd Pettiford and Chad Baker-Mazar to really step up into that role at Kentucky, and obviously as Miles Kelly made 7 threes. Yeah, I mean
30 points at Kentucky.
He can shoot the 3 ball. Don't let him get hot. So I think Auburn advances with slight ease.
Now Oregon, Arizona, a 5 seed versus a 4 seed. In my opinion, Arizona, of course, I think they should be lower. But Oregon, again, has proved clutch, beating Alabama earlier this season, one of their losses. Though, you never really know. They're a Big Ten school now. I know that's weird to say.
Yeah.
Pac-12 is gone. But it depends what they do in the Big Ten tournament. If they have good showings against Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, that could prove well, and I think they could win this game.
I'm just going to go with Arizona. I mean, I think Arizona has kind of proved these past couple games that they're legit and that they can play and that they're a scrappy team. I mean, no disrespect to Oregon. Oregon is a really good basketball team. But like you said, it depends on how they play in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, I'd probably agree. Oregon still is a good team.
Yeah.
Arizona's just a bit of a matchup problem with them. And it could just end poorly for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Louisville versus St. John's. I absolutely love St. John's as a team.
Too.
I remember they weren't even ranked, and I was making like top 25s at home, and I had them in my top 15.
Yeah.
Nobody really recognized this team. They were a sleeper team, finally getting in late. I think St. John's has the ability to make a Final Four run this year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, St. John's was just overshadowed by UConn and Marquette these past couple of years, and as well as Creighton. And then it took, getting Rick Pitino over there and letting him go and get this team coached to now they're a potential 3 seed, possible 2 seed.
Yeah.
So I think St. John's cruises past Louisville.
Mm-hmm. Now we have Memphis, Michigan State. Now Memphis, again, these are 2 Maui Invitational teams.
Yeah.
Don't think they ever ended up playing. But Memphis, they played good in Maui. Michigan State played pretty good in Maui, having a close win against UConn. You never really know if these matches, the 7-2 matches, they can prove to be good games, even though they don't normally seem like it.
Yeah.
Memphis could have a chance here if Danger gets worked up and gets a good play. But once again, Michigan State, they're a really good offensive team. We saw them at half court that they hit against Maryland.
Yeah.
That was great. But they're getting these big wins, and Memphis isn't playing in the AAC.
Michigan State all day long over Memphis.
Moving on to the Sweet 16, we have Auburn and Arizona. What do you have in that matchup?
This is actually a tough one. This is probably one of Auburn's tougher tests in the tournament. I think Auburn gets the win. I mean, they're just too talented. If Janai Broome plays at that high level that he's been playing at all season, it's going to be easy for Auburn to get past him.
Now St. John's and Michigan.
St. John's.
St. John's, yep.
I think that's all I have to say. St. John's.
St. John's.
It's a different type of basketball they play in the Big East, and St. John's plays it right.
And our Elite Eight matchups: Auburn versus St. John's. I feel like the main problem in this game would be St. John's. I'm pretty sure they have an inability to really hit the three ball.
Yeah.
That's their problem. Auburn, heavy three-point shooting team. It's like if St. John's went up and played against Alabama, I think Alabama would run away with it. St. John's could not answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I do think Auburn would win that
I
going
think
into
Auburn
the
takes it
Final
as well.
Four. Overview of this bracket looks pretty favorable except for St. John's. I feel like that's the real team I'd be worried about.
Yeah.
Is St. John's on the side. Michigan State, again, that's a pretty good team we'd have to worry about. Moving on to what CBS says, there's really not much major differences. We have Illinois and Utah State as the 8 and 9. Utah State with a loss to UC San Diego, which I'm predicting will make the tournament without even winning their conference.
Yeah, I think UC San Diego is a very good sleeper team.
If you get them as an 11 seed,
look out for.
Not to be them and VCU.
Yeah.
And then I think Missouri will be our 5 seed. I'm okay with that. Liberty as the 12. Don't mind. High Point as a 13 versus a 4 Iowa State. High Point is beginning top 25 votes since week 1. They're another team that we're sleeping on. High Point, they could get in without winning their conference. They are it's a one big conference.
Yeah.
But High Point is playing at such a level like UC San Diego. UC San Diego has 2 quad 1 wins already.
Yeah.
And I mean it's pretty good. VCU is the 11 seed on our side. That's
scary.
That would not be good. VCU has the potential to make a Final Four to championship run.
Yeah.
As an 11 seed. Texas A&M too, not great. We just took a loss to them.
Yep.
Then Wisconsin as the 2 seed. That CBS is predicting a lot tougher.
Yeah.
For us having Iowa State as the 4 seed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's a Sweet 16 matchup if you get there. Now, any teams that you think could really win it all this year?
I don't know. I think there's a solid group of Auburn, Duke. Houston's also a very good basketball team. Iowa State's a team that you can't sleep on. Florida's proved that they're good playing beating Auburn at Auburn and beating Alabama at Alabama. So I think those are the 4 solid teams. And if you're asking me, about a sleeper team that could possibly make a run is VCU, UC San Diego, teams like that are really good. And I also think A&M they possibly could make a run, but it just depends on how well they play because they lost 4 straight not too long ago.
I would say the same thing with Maryland. Maryland now ranked 14th. Ken Palm does this thing where it's 8 teams that they can have to win the national championship.
Yeah.
Top 10 in offensive and defensive. Maryland is one of those teams, and I think that they legitimately have a shot. Them and St. John's. I think I could see Maryland making an Elite 8 run, possibly in the Final Four. I definitely think that there's a shot there. Though if I had to pick my overall national championship, I'd go probably Florida versus might go Auburn. I mean, Florida has been playing out of their minds recently.
I think Florida-Auburn is a really good one. Auburn-Duke, another matchup like that again. I think Auburn will take it because
I think Duke's going to go early.
Yeah.
They haven't had any challenges.
I know. They've been playing some very low-level ACC teams.
Tournament's going to be a shock.
Yeah, but, watch out for St. John's. St. John's is a team that you have to watch out for because they have been sneaky good at winning basketball games. But I think Auburn has a real legitimate shot to win it and get Bruce Pearl's first championship.
Yep. Well, that's all for this episode of Finn's Auburn Breakdown. Make sure you like and subscribe. And if you want to be on the podcast, make sure to email WCN@stmichaelchs.org. Thank you for being on the podcast, Mitchell.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
We'll see you next time.